let's make sure we got everything sorted and ready. Hello, everybody. I'm just going to take a minute and y'all can hear my pump up music. So before the podcast, whenever we're doing recording or before a live, I really love to listen to Michael Franti. Sometimes Sacred Drumming. I think it's David Gordon who has that CD. Anyway, I absolutely love it. So I'm going to pause that. Okay, so welcome. I just wanted to say hello and talk a little bit about questions and authenticity for your spirit guides. So if you happened to catch our podcast this week, we talked about how to ask your spirit guides questions and make sure that you were including elements and excluding elements that might dilute your accuracy or create confusion. So if you do want to check that out as a supplement, I included that in the description, the link, so you can listen to that. But we're kind of taking it a little step deeper today by talking about how to infuse authenticity and make a deeper connection with your spirit guides. And in particular, this is helpful for if you're wanting to develop more of your intuition, if you're wanting to talk more with your guides and you want to learn the way to do that, or even if you're experienced and have had some issues at times where you were a little bit confused by some of the answers that you received. A lot of times it has to do actually with the questions, not with the answers. So that's the demystification that I want to bring to our life today. So the first element as we dive into this topic of authenticity and questioning is how important it is for you to get very clear on what it is that you really want to know. I know that sounds really basic, right? But it's not, because our practical questions are really important. So those things that are, hey, am I financially going to be okay for this big expenditure that I have? How are things from a custody perspective going to work out? What's happening with my real estate investment? Those practical questions are valid and really important. So they're fine to ask. But going to a deeper level is sometimes that question usually represents something on the surface that when we drill down, there's a deeper question there. And so instead of just asking the surface question, it's so helpful to get to that deeper heart-centered question that you have so that then you can get some more information and get to the heart of the matter, which is what you're really asking. So going back to that example, if, for example, your thought is, or your original practical question is, am I going to be okay financially for having to replace the air conditioning in the next year? Am I, okay for that? What the deeper question might be, if you dig in a bit, is, am I doing the things that I need to do to align with prosperity? Am I creating the experiences now in my life? Am I making the decisions now in my life that represent moving the needle closer to that element of security? So it's important to be able to ask the deeper question, not just the surface question. And that's really where the authenticity comes into play. And what's interesting is sometimes we think we're being very authentic with some of our surface questions, but we're not really hitting that fear. And the fear element is usually what's prompting you to ask the practical question to begin with. And your guides, what's important for you to know, want to help you to release that anxiety and to release that fear and learn how to let go of that stress and to feel safe in a variety of different circumstances and experiences. But if we go with that initial question, we really don't give them the opportunity to help us learn or to help us grow. It also prevents a bit us actually getting to that place where we do feel safe. So the moment that they answer yeah, you're going to be fine with that, big AC expenditure, then we go, whew. And then tomorrow is a new question, that represents that fear from a financial perspective. So the opportunity is to drill into and ask yourself, why? Why am I asking this question? So when you go to whatever your practical question happens to be, and you ask yourself, why am I asking this? What does it represent? And if I dig a little bit deeper, why am I asking it again? So you're just going to keep going down the whys until you hit what that fear, that anxiety is. And then from there, you're going to, follow what we talked about in the podcast this week, is making sure you're really drilling down and using specific language in order to get to the right answer from your guides about that, how to alleviate that fear. So for example, with the financial element, when I wanted to go deeper with the fear aspect of money and not feeling secure, my question might center around, what can I do to create a sense of safety for myself around my finances this year? So we want to get specific. So we talked about some of those steps, making sure you're including a stamp or a time signature. Talked about that this week's podcast, but being very specific about it. And then that's going to really click a lot of resonance. So it really amplifies your frequency. It amplifies your connection with your spirit guides, because you're getting to the heart. You're getting to the true stuff. We're not focusing on the ego, the surface, the parts of ourselves that matter. Those things matter. They have real world consequences to them, but it's like what lights your spirit guides on fire is, yes, now we get to do the deeper work. So it supercharges the communication. It supercharges what you create, so that you're not all up here in those questions, you're here. And when we're linking the heart and the mind together, then we're able to create more lasting change, more lasting results. We're able to integrate on a deeper level. The other invitation that I had as we talk about authenticity is making sure that you're honoring the experience. So authenticity is very strongly linked, of course, with intention. So when you're sitting down to communicate with your spirit guides, you want to create that atmosphere that honors what's happening. So my mediumship mentor used to express how incredibly important it was. You do not talk to your guides, he said, when you're in the shower. You do not talk to them when you are like lounging around, and you're like using the bathroom. It's like you show respect for your spirit guides and what they're doing, and like you dress appropriately, and you show that. So, and of course the importance of that is that truthfully, your guides, if you're in the shower or whatever, they don't care. That's human stuff. But it's our intention of aligning our energy with that sense of respect and appreciation and authenticity. So it's important as you step into making more communication with your guides, whether that's regularly, which I hope it is, because you're always going to have the best results when you work with them more regularly. But as you do that, is making sure that you are creating a space and creating an intention that you're connecting with your highest and best spirit guides, that you're honoring what that looks like, okay, for you. So for me, when I'm getting ready for a reading, for example, I light a candle, because a candle for me represents the light in the world. And so it's also like a welcoming beacon that I have for my guides. And I also take some time to really center in. I call in each of my guides and make sure that I'm centered. And I also take a moment to send love and connection to whoever I'm reading for, and to their guides, and to my guides, and to the divine. So it's a little bit of a process. It sounds like a lot of work, right, when I say it out? But it's a really beautiful process. And I encourage you to create something that feels authentic to you. If it feels sacred to you to light a candle, wonderful. If it feels sacred to you to spray rose water spray as a means to lift the energy, if it feels sacred to you to sage right before, whatever that is, you want to connect it with your authentic expression of what brings ease to you, what brings a sense of peace, and also what brings reassurance. Because your guides are, when you call, they're there. I mean, they're always there, you know, whether we like it or not, they're always there. But when we call, they're right there, very present with us in a very active way. Sometimes our ego is in a space, or if we're really stressed, we might feel our own disconnection and feel like, gosh, where are my guides? But they're always there for you. So sometimes using those tools that are very authentic for you, that represent an intention, can be a little extra icing to the cake and to your particular style of communication with your guides. So it's okay, when I light this candle, I know everything's working and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And then from there, you can relax, because relaxation is super important to being able to receive, because you got to be open. If you're, you know, listening to your guides and you're stressed and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with, you're not receptive. You're not going to be able to receive very well, you know, when you're in this closed state. I mean, our body, when our body gets tense, it physically closes. You can actually see the body do this number. One thing that I found when I did Reiki classes, which I've done for many years, and Reiki sessions, was that I could tell where people were shut down based on their body language and how they appeared in front of me in the consult. So you might notice this in yourself or in other people, but kind of watch, it's interesting. If someone does this a lot, they're blocking the throat chakra, or they're feeling weaker in this area. Because whatever you're blocking is generally what you feel weaker. So you're subconsciously putting a physical barrier between you and whatever it is that feels uncomfortable. So you're supporting that area in an unconscious way. So people who do this a lot are dealing with throat chakra stuff. People who, you know, sit like this, heart chakra. The big one that I see all the time is, I don't know if you can pick this up here, but solar plexus. It's like, you're not tapping in, nobody's taking my energy, this is my energy, and then so forth. So pay attention also to body language and how open you are, how at peace you are. So just taking a minute even to give those signals to your body to relax. So if your body is doing this, a lot of times we don't notice it. So as you're sitting down with your guides, take a little bit of time and just, you know, uncurl your shoulders. Make sure your chest is open. So this really represents the heart chakra energy, which is really receptive and very high vibrational. Make sure you're sitting up in a way that your spine is allowing a very free flow of energy from top of your crown all the way down through the root. So those types of things are helpful. And when your body is nice and open, those will send signals back, even if you are feeling a little bit stressed, to your body, like, oh, okay, she's relaxed. And it will send a little bit of extra relaxation support to you too. So those are just a couple of extra tips I didn't mean to talk about today, but you know, spirit sometimes jabbers and says, hey, we gotta talk about this too. So I hope that this has been helpful in, again, clarifying how important it is to drill down, to get to the heart of the matter of what you're truly asking, and to be able to clarify that our surface questions are very important, or our practical questions are really important. But if we're really missing a lot of opportunity if you don't take a minute to dive into what's underneath, so then you can get more support or more education from your spirit guides, whether that be something that they're teaching you about your consciousness or limiting beliefs, or whether it's presenting you with a whole new idea that you really haven't had before. So just keep those things in mind. Again, I'm gonna say that if you go to the description of the live today, there's a link for the podcast episode that we released this week, which goes really more in depth into how to ask practical questions with your spirit guides in a way that really improves your accuracy. So we talk about including time, the things you don't want to do, the things that, you know, are really helpful, and just make sure that you are having your intentions answered as clearly as possible. So I think that's another big bonus resource that if you haven't heard, I really encourage you to do so. It's just a big compliment to what we've done today. So thank you for joining me from my heart, and I appreciate each and every one of you, sending lots of love and blessings. And I know that your guides are always excited when you take a moment and you spend some time just connecting about communication that's for them. It's like it just increases or improves and shows your commitment to wanting to improve and to work with them on a deeper level. And that's really going to continue to help your relationship and supercharge that and improve their commitment also to just continuously be reaching out and showing you more signs and indications and giving you spirit waves or spirit winks, however you want to look at it. Thanks again. Take care. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love to everybody. Bye.